you had said earlier that you can have an absolute assurance of your salvation, but Paul in Philippians 3 actually doesn't say that. He doesn't say that it's an absolute assurance, because if you start reading and you can
Where
start
at in 3 so I can read it?
yeah. So you could start in verse 8, but really the kicker is in so in verse 8 he starts talking about how he received salvation, and it's not through his own work, and it's not through the law, it's through the righteousness of God that is given to him through Jesus Christ. And then in verse 10 he says that he knows the power of his resurrection, and that he shares in his sufferings, and that he becomes like him in death. And then in verse 11 he says all of this, that if possible I may attain the resurrection from the dead. So he calls it a possibility. And then if you keep reading on, he's talking about pressing toward the goal. In verse 12 he says, and this is the crazy part. So in verse 11 he says, if possible that I may attain the resurrection from the dead. And then he says, not that I have already obtained